Welcome back, everybody. What I want to talk about today are UPC promo punches. Those little small circular holes that sometimes you'll see cut directly out of the cover art of the game. We're going to talk about why they exist, what they mean, the two different types of punches that can exist, and whether or not you should collect them or avoid them or what the market currently thinks of them. As always, thank you to every single patron that helps support the channel, as well as the Greg gang. Can't do it without you guys. Let's get into this. So if you've been collecting for a while now, either complete in box or sealed disc-based games, you've probably come across ones that have these UPC promo punches. Essentially, what it is that before the game goes to the factory to be sealed, it will be hole punched intentionally on the UPC so that it cannot be resold by anybody. This punch is basically synonymous with not for resale, but instead of writing not for resale right on the cartridge or right on the cover art, they just punch out the UPC. And that nice looking hole punch UPC is the really clean way of doing it. There's also another method that was used to mark some games as not for resale, but instead they take an actual drill to the game and just drill right through it, which is pretty insane. And the market does see these two things as very different, but we'll get into that in just a second. First, let's talk about why these exist. Why did they need to mark these games as not for resale? The games that received this treatment were almost always distributed prior to the actual retail release of the game, which is why they didn't want them being resold. This could be done to have games distributed for promotional reasons, or if you needed to get games out to reviewers. People have also said it was done when company employees would purchase the games because they often get a steep discount, so the company wouldn't want them reselling the games. Those are the most common reasons for this being done. If you know of other reasons, please put it down in the comments below. The difference between the UPC punch and the drill hole, though, is that the drill hole would have been done after the game was already out of the factory and sealed. Now, the drill hole copies I'm not as confident in. I do believe they were done for the same reasons as the UPC punch, but for why it had to be done so crudely, I'm just not sure. If you are going to be giving it away for review or for promotional reasons, it would seem that you could just open the game instead and maybe rip the barcode or something instead of literally putting a drill hole through it. It's a rather curious decision, really. But that does bring us to the question of, should you try to collect these UPC punches? Are they cool? Are they bad? What are you supposed to think about them? So first, I just want to start with my own opinions on them. UPC punched games have never bothered me. I personally see them as these really cool variants that might have been used for promotional material or review material. So for myself, I always classified them as variants. Obviously, that's a loose classification as there's nothing actually different about the cover art or the game itself. Over the years, I've sometimes been able to pick up factory sealed games that have the UPC punches for a little bit of a discount, and that has never bothered me. I always treated that as a bonus too. The drill hole games, I kind of want nothing to do with. In my opinion, that is just damage, which is kind of funny to say because obviously the UPC punches also directly damage to the game. And if we go a step further with how does each of the grading companies treat it, both WATA and VGA will grade a UPC punched copy as if there is no damage to the game. They will put it on the label, but they won't actually detract from the overall grade. However, drill hole copies are both seen as negative by both companies. You will lose points on your overall grade and it will be noted on the label. So now if we go to the broader market, how are they seen? How are they often treated by people? Most people do not look for the UPC punch copies and they do not prefer to have the UPC punch copies. Same goes with drill hole copies. In most instances, it is actually a lot harder to find a UPC punched copy of a game, but most people do prefer to just have one that's in perfect condition rather than having one that's been marred by a hole puncher, which I mean, that kind of makes sense too. But of course, there are people seeking them out as variants, like how I said, that you get this special copy that was used in some kind of promotional review type setting that was probably before the actual release of the game. So in that respect, they are really cool. The market just doesn't really appreciate it, nor do I know if the market ever will appreciate it to any kind of meaningful degree. I personally have copies of Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 right here, and on the back of them you can see that both UPCs are punched, and I picked them up purposely because they were punched. I think it's really cool. Let me know in the comments below if you have a strong opinion on these either way. Do you look for them? Do you avoid them? Have you never thought about them before? I'd love to know what you guys think. Hopefully you learned something from this video. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!